no idea why you can't start a meeting a minute early, but you can be an hour late, but state law. Is that correct, Mr. Lawyer?
It is.
Okay, 6 o'clock.
Hey, Mary, it's 6 o'clock.
Okay, ready.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Lawrence?
Here.
Trustee Lawler?
Here.
Trustee Leaflet? Trustee Healy?
Here.
Trustee Katsinas?
Here.
Trustee Malani?
Here.
Mayor Dodge?
Here.
We have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the December 1st, 2025 Committee of the Whole minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Katsinas.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Committee of the Whole of December 1st, 2025.
Second.
So motion and second. Any comments or questions about the minutes? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Lawrence?
Aye.
Trustee Lawler?
Aye.
Trustee Leaflet? Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Dodge?
Aye.
Any non-scheduled citizens and visitors for agenda-specific public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll proceed to the 2025 sponsor acknowledgement.
Ray, before we jump into this, do you want to, you or George, give a little bit of a history?
Yeah, so we are here tonight to honor and thank all the sponsors that have supported us this past year, many of who are present tonight. It's thanks to the sponsors that support events and facilities and our programs that we're able to produce the quality programs and events that we do. So we're greatly appreciative of all you do for us and all your support, and again, it's thanks to you. In this past year, we had 278 sponsorships totaling over $250,000. So again, we're very grateful of your support and your sponsorship of Village events.
And just on behalf of the board, before we get started, the formal way to say thank you, recognize the support. As Ray said, it's $250,000. And these things are really important because they support programs that help keep Orland Park feeling like a community. So the village board is very grateful, staff's very appreciative, and just I'll open it up for any quick board comments if you'd like before we go through a long list of great contributions. Anyone?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Katsinas?
just like to echo your sentiments. It really means a lot to people that you show your support for the community, that you give back. Not only this board, but also the residents are very appreciative. And I've been at different events where they've noticed the sponsors displayed through the festival, whatever it is, whatever event. So people do notice. So not only this board, but our residents too. And for that, we thank you.
Any other comments? All right. I'm going to have to use my glasses on and off, so forgive me as we get ready to do this. I'm usually better at microphones than that, but what we'd like to do is we're just going to call up all the folks that we'd like to recognize, and then we'll take a picture, and then obviously we're filming the whole meeting so that hopefully that this benefits us all, because it's important for us to share this with the whole community. So we'll just kind of go down in straight order. So Waste Management? Anyone here from Waste Management? So Waste Management's a platinum sponsor, and over the years, I know that they've been very generous to the village. Northwestern Medicine, they here? Northwestern Medicine was a $35,000 contribution sponsored for Taste of Orland Park. So that was a great event. We had about 35,000 people attend that event, so it was a pretty popular Taste of Orland this year. Chris Burke, I know there's a couple of representatives from Chris Burke. I reckon. Come on, guys. Christopher Burke's been engineering firm that's worked with the village for a long number of years, so we appreciate the ongoing support. David Busters. All right, the fun place. Go from engineering to fun. So thank you. Edwards Realty. I knew right where to look. Well, but you're a fine representative. So everyone, Edwards Realty does an awful lot in Orland Park, and we appreciate their engagement with the community and also through the chamber. So. V3. V3 is an engineering firm that's done a lot for the village, and they've chipped in to a lot of events. So this is a pretty long list. I could go through this. We'll be here for a while. Right. But no, seriously, appreciate what you guys do for the village. So thank you. Trade, John. There you go. Central Credit Union. All right. You've been in Orland Park for a long time, and thank you for the support. We appreciate that. All right, ComEd. ComEd here? How are you? Good, good to see you. So ComEd has been a sponsor for many, many events. So again, thank you to ComEd. All right, Spaceco. Spaceco does, I can't think of a whole lot of projects you guys haven't been involved in terms of some of the engineering work. So again, Spaceco is a generous contributor to Centennial Park West and Taste of Orland, a number of events, especially the Veterans Golf Outings. Thank you, appreciate that. There you go. Thank you, sir. Make sure everybody knows we appreciate this. People's Bank. People's Bank contributed to the outdoor movie series and Taste of Orland, so thank you for that. Appreciate that. Thank you on behalf of the village. Got it? I'll let her hand it to you. It'll be a lot safer. Thanks. Baxter Woodman. Yeah, you could be easier. So Baxter has been a long time, it's been a long association with the village in terms of engineering, like some of the other firms we've used. So thank you for all the contributions to the village.
Thank you.
All right, the Sewer and Tunnel Miners Union, laborers. And definitely shout out, appreciate the contribution, veterans golf outing. So we appreciate that over the years. Now we appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for what you do for the village. Sorry. Good. Thanks. Lena Maritea, is she here? Oh, there she is. Hey, Lena. I'm sorry, being very familiar. Lena Maritea Homes. So this is a township trustee, Lena Maritea, as well. So just thank you for what you've contributed to the village officially.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So familiar. Park Smiles Dental. Outdoor movie series and a great pumpkin party. That's a pretty popular event, so thank you for that. Girl Scouts, nice to see you again.
Sorry, Emily.
You're not.
Got it right on time.
No, we're good, we're good. No, thank you for what you guys do. All right, Big River. Okay. Power Wellness. And thank you for the contribution to the Veterans Golf Classic. We appreciate that. Some of our veteran friends in the back, they appreciate the contribution. So thank you for making that contribution. Thank you. Walsh and Sutton Plumbing, they here? Okay. Orland Youth Association. Independence Day and Veterans Liberty Run Walk and then Turkey Trot. It was cold. It was cold. Good to see you. Thank you. We had what, Ray, about 1,000 people sign up? We had almost 900 show up on a very cold day for run, so God love them. All right, Children's Therapy Connections. The Great Pumpkin Party. Again, another very fun event. No, thank you. Emmy Simpson, important engineering firm for us. I think the village had a long relationship with them. So thank you for the contributions to Independence Day and veterans. We appreciate that. All right. So my friends in the American Legion, 111, Post 111, come on guys, Veterans Golf Outing. I tend to see these guys every other Friday morning for coffee at the Veterans Hall when I can make it.
I got orders to tell you, when we do bagels next month,
Yeah.
make sure you bring the cream cheese.
I got to bring the cream cheese. You hear that? How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for the contribution. All right, Veterans Voice. We got the VFW. Come on, guys. Run. Well, we'll call the VFW first. Come on, Ron. Tommy coming up. Now, I know the first guy is Rambo. The other guy I know is Tom Doolby, who used to be a trustee here in Orland. Yeah, there you go. How are you? Good to see you, Tom. So thank you for the contribution. All right, now we have Veterans Voices. Veterans Voices also kicked into the Veterans Golf Classic. How are you? Good. How are you?
Good save, good save.
All right, United Health Insurer also contributed to the Veterans Golf Classic. Thank you. We have 3 veterans groups, so we appreciate what you guys do. No problem. Thank you. Thanks for doing this. Wayne Conley Insurance, they here? Better Homes and Garden Real Estate. Burn through this. Great Hamilton Associates. I want to make sure I read that right. Oh, there you go. Sorry about it. Yeah, I warned you guys about my not having my glasses. Somebody printed this in 12-point font. It's kind of a shame. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate it. we call it Better Homes? I think we did. I don't know if they're here. Help at Home. Come on. Again, contribution to the Veterans Golf Classic. So it's very much appreciated by the veterans groups and the things that they do. So it's not just supporting the veterans groups into and of themselves, it's all the causes they support. So thank you. All right, Howard Intervention Center. Mead. How are you, sir? Good, 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 goodness, thank you. We got this? Mead, sorry, did I get you guys out of order?
Help at home.
Did I call? I thought it did say help at home.
There was help from within, help at home.
Oh, there you go.
Help, do you have that?
All right, so we had help from within and help at home. Who'd I miss? Well, the good news, we have so many sponsors, it's been taken. All right, we did Howard, we did Mead. Publicity. So publicity is contributed to the Veterans Golf Classic. Again, very much appreciated. Sushi Nova, they here? They contributed to the heritage sites, and we're going to put some additional attention into heritage sites in the coming year. Tom and Therese Dooleby for a contribution to the Veterans Golf Classic. Been a while since I've seen you, Therese. Human race. Not surprisingly, right? For the Liberty Walk and Run and then the Turkey Trot, right? Always a good thing. All right. We'll try this again. Big River. There we are. For, yeah, the Liberty Run and then the Turkey Trot. I think we didn't miss anybody, did we? All right, no, we appreciate this. And again, on behalf of the full village board, you heard some of the sentiments. The village really appreciates it because, you know, Orland's is a big commercial center, but it's also a home to 60,000 people. And sponsorships and support for events like this, kind of they become that connective tissue for what makes a community and a hometown. So it's very much appreciated across all the things that you did, whether they were big contributions or smaller contributions. It's very much appreciated in all those things. It's a great list of things we do, thanks to the staff, and a tip of the hat to the sponsors for helping. So I think, no, go ahead, Cindy. Do we want, George, are we trying to do a team photo out by the tree? Cake and coffee. Now, Trustee Milani bemoaned the cake because I think that he and I both should probably actually start going to the turkey trot more often. But we'll get there. So we're going to take a quick 10, 15-minute recess, and then we'll go out and we'll take pictures and cake and coffee, again, as a way to say thank you. There's a motion for a quick recess?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Call the roll.
Trustee Katsina?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Lawrence?
Aye.
Trustee Lawler?
Aye.
Trustee Healy? Mayor Dodge? Okay, trustee Lawrence,
Here.
trustee Lawler,
Here.
trustee Healy,
Here.
trustee Katsinas,
Here.
trustee Malani,
He's here.
Mayor Dodge.
Here. All right, next item, please.
We'll proceed to the police department main pump station and main pump station north intake building fire alarm system upgrade.
George, this sounds very serious.
So for the building, the older buildings, the fire alarm system is not up to the current code. And so we're bringing all those two buildings up to code. And then the north intake, we identified, even though it was built recently, that we needed to bring that to the same code as well. So it's really bringing up a lot of our facilities. And these are several of, we've done some in the past. These are this year's, and we'll be doing more in future years as well. This is also for ADA too, so there's some upgrades for like sound if you're blind, or if you're deaf, there's strobe lights and so forth as well.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Lawrence?
I move to recommend to the village board to approve participation in joint purchasing cooperative Omnia Partners pursuant to contract number 02-139 and authorize the approval and execution of a vendor contract with Davecon Electric, Inc. for the police department, MPS, and MPS North Intake Fire Alarm System Upgrade Project based on Davcom Electric, Inc.'s proposals, number 25-167-05, number 25-67-04, and 25-167-03, for a total not to exceed contract price of $560,100.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani?
just to confirm, this is 2026 budget, correct?
Yes,
Not the, using 2025. Okay,
2026.
thanks.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Katsinas?
I just had a quick question for Joel.
Yep.
Joel, I know had talked about security systems too. Is this tied in with security at all? Or how is that? Because I know that was a concern on an assessment we had previously.
Yeah, that's a good question. This is only fire system. The security system, we are doing an evaluation, and then we'll be coming back to the board for some recommendations in the future for the main pump station. I believe that's what you're asking.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions? And George, we're doing this through a cooperative, correct?
Yes, we've had a lot of luck with cooperatives that ultimately saves us a lot of time and a lot of money.
Got it. Any other comments or questions? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Lawrence,
Aye.
trustee Malani,
Aye.
trustee Lawler,
Aye.
trustee Healy,
Aye.
trustee Katsinas,
Aye.
Mayor Dodge.
Aye.
Motion passes. Police Department Generator Project.
George or Joel, want a brief background before we ask the board for a motion?
This was just a simple replacement of a generator at the police department.
Yes, and there, also the transfer switch too. It's all part of this project. We had a situation when we had a power outage and the transfer switch didn't operate, as well as the generator is 17 years old. It's outdoors and it needs to have a heating element in there. It has to be an outdoor generator, so we've been fighting this problem with this generator operating correctly.
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Lawler?
Joel, I was reading through this weekend, and just kind of looking at, do we ever do, just real quick, you know, because there's a couple other things that we're going to hit further down the list here. Do we ever do our own interior research on these and see what things actually cost and the price on these? Because just doing a little bit of online research, you know, plugging in what was going into the proposal, it seemed like some of the bids were, you know, like the prices they were recommending in the Chicagoland area were more in the 275 range, 300. So I guess my question is, I mean, I know there's different sets of rules, I guess, for municipalities, but how do we get to $500,000 for some of these things, you know, just on basic research?
Yeah. So from my knowledge of these type of projects, this is within the right range. But the Omnia contract, all these get reviewed by an Omnia person to make sure it matches the RS means. RS means is the guidelines for what prices Home Depot and all the major resources that provide those kind of products, they check and make sure that it falls in line with what industry standard. So that's a great resource because we don't have to do that. They do that for us to validate that the pricing is accurate.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani?
and just to clarify, this is $478,000 for the entire project, not just for the generator, right?
Yes, entire project.
And this is a project similar to what we just did at the Village Hall, I think like a year or two ago, right? We pretty much had to replace everything here as well.
Correct, yes,
Okay, so we're just getting up to speed because it's almost 20 years old.
correct.
Okay.
All right. Comments or questions from the board? Joel, as you think about this, what do you expect what is the life expectancy of this install? And then what are you guys changing in terms of your predictive analytics and maintenance of this thing? Because 20 years feels a bit young for a piece of mechanical equipment that's largely just cycled for maintenance.
Right. Usually you can get, if the generator is properly maintained and exercised, you can usually get about 30 years. The situation with the heater is one of the major things that we are seeing that the current generator is just not operating to its full potential, especially in the winter, like this time of cold, it'll lock up on us when we're doing our tests. But from a preventive maintenance, we do have a contractor in place that helps us maintain all our generators. They give us recommendations for improvements. And we're planning on auctioning actually this generator off to get some money back to the village because we can't really use it in other areas, but there might be some life still left over for maybe somebody else who wants an indoor generator. You know, maybe they can utilize that and we can have that cost back to the village.
So for this kind of equipment, given that police are a absolutely critical operational part of the village, what kind of reliability are you assuming, or what's promised from this piece of equipment with the right maintenance? You can't have the police department offline no matter what. That's why you do emergency power generation. So it's a critical system. What are you guys doing to make sure it's always up?
So there's two things with that. There's that transfer switch. That transfer switch allows the power to switch to the UPS systems. And so the UPS systems are in place to continue their running. If for some reason we have a problem with the generator, we can then come in and fix that generator if that problem occurs. So there's some redundancy there as well.
Okay. Trustee Katsinas?
Mr. Chairman, just another quick question, Joel. What had transpired with the low water pressure? It wasn't a generator issue, it was more of a software issue, correct? Like a relay or something, a redundant system. So with this generator, are the redundancies in place? So like what we had at the water pumping station doesn't happen? Because there wasn't anything wrong with the generator, right? It was the software or the backup or a battery?
I think you're referencing the time when we were changing out.
Correct.
When the bolt fell and
Yes.
caused that situation. That's when the bus bar, which fed two sides, took down our pump station. That situation, it didn't allow us to go to our generator because the bus bar feeds from the generator as well. So it feeds not only the ComEd feed in, but also the generator feed in. So in that situation, we immediately got another generator that we had to wire around the bus bar, which is a large metal bar that power is running through. And so we bypassed it to bring the water station back up online. It's a little bit different situation with the police station. They don't have that bus bar.
Okay, that's why I was going to, software is a little different, the mechanics are a little different.
The mechanics.
That you make sure everything's being replaced, right? So it's
Correct.
batteries and everything.
The UPS will be, we do have to cycle and replace those every about 5 to 6 years. But we're talking about the switch and the generator this year.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, we'll entertain a motion. Trustee Malani?
I move to recommend to the village board to approve participation in joint purchasing cooperative Omnia pursuant to contract number 02-139 and authorize the approval and execution of a vendor contract with Davcom Electric Incorporated for the police department generator project based on Davcom Electric Incorporated proposal number 26-167-02 dated November 6, 2025 for a total not to exceed contract price of $498,700.
Second.
So motion and a second. Any questions about the motion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Lawrence?
Aye.
Trustee Lawler?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Mayor Dodge.
Aye.
Police Department and Civic Center flooring project.
George, Joel, brief background.
So this project is really looking at finishes. There's two buildings that we identified and broke up the Civic Center to have the north area done first one year and then the south the next year. That allowed, when the space was being renovated, the other space could be used. So at Civic Center, we're replacing the flooring in the south area. The other piece is just worn out carpeting and other flooring, not the hallways, which we recently took a tour around. That's still very in good shape from when it was built. But the other area is just worn out carpeting and flooring in those areas.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board before we ask for a motion? Is there a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Lawrence.
I move to recommend to the village board to approve of participation in joint purchasing cooperative Sourcewell pursuant to contract number 061323-S11 and authorize the approval and execution of a vendor contract with Midway Flooring, Inc. for the Police Department and Civic Center Annex Flooring Project based on Midway Flooring, Inc.'s proposals JE 005154-001 and JE 005500-001, both dated November 4, 2025, for a total of $323,322.35, plus a $20,000 contingency for a not-to-exceed contract price of $343,322.35.
Second.
So motion and a second. Any questions about the motion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Lawrence?
Aye.
Trustee Lawler?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Dodge.
Aye.
Motion passes. 5, resolution approving the Orland Park Police Department Patrol Cruise Lights pilot program by activating steady blue and red cruise lights on marked police vehicles to increase visibility and deter crime.
George, I think that this comes close to winning the longest title of an action item tonight. Maybe the last one has a long one. But why don't you provide the board, you or the chief, provide a board with this as a pilot program that we're going to test?
Yeah, this is exactly it, and the chief can talk a little bit more, but we have a little video here, just a very high-level overview, and it's something that also is going to be provided on social media. So Tad, if you can just show that.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Wall with the Orland Park Police Department. I'm excited to give you a quick look into a new program that we're piloting called Cruise Lights. You'll begin to notice these non-flashing red and blue lights on top of some of our patrol cars within the business districts and neighborhoods. Cruise lights are simply just a way for our officers to be more visible on the street. They also help deter crime. The idea is pretty simple. If you can see us, it's easier for you to find us if you need assistance. This is just one more way we're working to stay connected and present within the community we serve. I do want to remind you, though, that if the lights are flashing, they are signaling an emergency, and you are required to pull over. If they're not flashing, just go about your business. You're good to go. As we roll out this new program, we would love to hear your feedback along the way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out there.
I guess, Chief, my experience is stop signs that aren't working, if you put a police car near that stop sign, magically they start working again. So I'm hopeful that something like this gets those types of things to happen, because as we've talked, that's our number one issues. People going through stop sign, neighborhood speeding, speeding on the main roads. I like the idea of this program, but how are we going to measure success? What are the criteria that will open up for the board?
So I think we're gonna see, hopefully we get a lot of comments back from the public, from our retail district to let us know. We'll see if crime, hopefully, the object is to be visible, to deter crime, for visibility. If somebody needs us, they're looking for us, they could see us. We started implementing it at some of the retail areas around the holiday shopping season, just so that, we have officers, they're out there, but they're a little more visible with their lights on. And the object is to deter crime in case we have criminals looking to prey on, our victim, any victim that's coming out of a retail shop. So they're out there now doing it, and then we're gonna pilot the program in the residential areas, and our retail shops, come the new year, so.
Any comments or questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Katsinas?
just a quick question for the chief. Those digital lights, those LED lights can be really bright. Is there a concern that, motorists may just stop thinking they're flashing lights and maybe create an accident? I mean, have there been any studies or anything?
So there have some studies that have been done, and, we are going to push it out to get that information out there to let everybody know that these are just study lights, that you're not to pull over. If you see flashing lights and sirens, that's when you're to pull over. So, and then again, like I said, we're gonna try to do it during the midnight hours, the late afternoon hours, maybe where there's a little less traffic, in the subdivisions to start with, and then, like I said, our retail shops that, mainly on, a midnight shift to where, if somebody's looking to commit a crime and they see us out there, that they may go somewhere else.
I think it's a great idea. Thanks for coming up with it.
I give all the credit to George.
Thanks for coming up with it.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah.
We can only say it
Wait,
once.
what? Yeah, well, make sure we heard that.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Malani, right there.
Just to clarify, I think our current vehicles are already equipped with everything we need to do this, right? Because I think I saw one parked in the roundabout during the Christmas tree lighting.
Right, yeah, so all of our cars are equipped with this cruise light feature.
Okay, so it's already enabled, ready to go, no reprogramming or anything. Okay, cool. The other thing is, so there's really no additional expense. We're just approving the pilot to see if this works, right? That's how we, okay. Just want to make sure. Thank you.
Trustee Lawler?
Yeah, two questions. One, so kind of opposite of what Trustee Katsinas was saying. So are we worried about someone not stopping when the lights are blinking, and their argument is going to be, well, I just thought they were on? I mean, how do we?
Yeah, I think, that's a concern, right? But we're gonna try to pilot this in non-high traffic areas. Again, like I said, our retail shops on, midnights when they're closed, driving through to make sure that, people see us. Your subdivisions, when there's not a lot of traffic, they'll be out there, and then we'll have to see how it works. Again, this is a pilot program. If it's successful, then I believe we're gonna move forward with it, or we'd like to move forward with it. And if it's not, then we'll continue to operate as we operate currently today.
Trustee Healy?
Excuse me, Chief, do any of the neighboring suburbs, are they doing this too, or is it just us?
I know Chicago does it. I've seen it in Chicago. I don't know if any of the local departments that surround us, any other villages do it. I know that I have seen Tinley Park with their lights just on, sitting stationary at some of their retail shops, but we're gonna try to be more mobile with this and not just have a squad car sitting in front of one retail establishment with its lights on.
Well, hopefully these guys will run to Tinley after seeing those lights, do something there, so, thanks.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Malani?
I guess one other thing to think about too, I mean, they're what we're calling them, they're called cruise lights, right? Cruising isn't going 45 miles an hour down LaGrange Road, right? It's moving at a low speed, maybe through a low traffic area, right? So it's like, if we're using it in that scenario, people are less likely to be distracted. I couldn't see us just heading down LaGrange with these on, correct?
Right, the object, like I said before, we're not gonna, non-high traffic areas. We have a lot of retail shops, we have a lot of shopping centers in Orland, and we wanna be visible out there. And then again, your residential neighborhoods, that's where we wanna be seen too.
No, I was just trying to clarify, kind of reinforce the idea that this isn't going to be out on main thoroughfares.
Correct.
Any other comments or questions from the board? So, George and Chief, I'd like, let's bring this back up. Let's see what the residents think, and let's make sure we push the communications, because when this idea first came up, and I spoke with a couple of police officers, they said it never fails, right? If they're running with the flashing lights on, somebody in front of them thinks that they're in trouble and they stop, and it couldn't have been like 2 days afterwards, I saw somebody pretty much come to a complete stop in a middle lane on LaGrange. It's like, you weren't the problem, get out of the way, is what I wanted to shout, but I didn't have the microphone handy. So I just think we need to be mindful of how this plays. And I would love it, if this works well for us, let's not be afraid, sharing this with other towns that might ask if our experience with it.
Right now, we have 4 officers that we're going to assign this to, and we'll have conversations with them to make sure that, if they're they see high traffic, or they do see some traffic, maybe they turn their lights off, and if they're in a residential area, and again, if they're in a retail area, when there's not a lot of traffic in that retail area, they just have their lights on cruising. But we also have an email that we can get residents to email us on their comments, so hopefully we get some comments back, and hopefully this is a success.
Thanks. Do we have a motion or no?
We do not.
Entertain a
Mr.
motion.
Mayor?
Trustee Lawler?
I move to recommend to the village board to pass a resolution entitled Resolution Approving the Orland Park Police Department's OPPD Patrol Cruise Lights Pilot Program by activating steady blue and red cruise lights on marked police vehicles to increase visibility and deter crime.
Second.
So motion and a second. Any questions about the motion? Call the roll.
Trustee Lawler?
Aye.
Trustee Lawrence?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Dodge?
Aye.
Motion passes. Ordinance for eminent domain of a portion of 9805 159th Street, Chermack property.
George, if you or staff could talk this through, because this is related to the road, correct?
Correct. So the village is working on completing the Ravinia extension that ends south of the Costco property, and to take it to LaGrange. So engineering has already engaged a firm that's helping us with the phase 1, phase 2 design. It's also, the point is to get a light at 161st, what we're going to refer to as just Ravinia. And we have all of the land that we need for the road, other than a tiny strip at what we refer to as the Chermack parcel. We have been discussing, we've been in negotiations with the property owner for a very long time. And we're just not getting anywhere. All we are asking for is right-of-way to complete the road. It is going to improve, obviously, his parcel as well when he has that access. But this eminent domain process will then kick off us acquiring that right-of-way, and that's all we're asking for.
Anything to add? Steve or Khurshid, before we throw it open for a board discussion?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the board?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Lawler?
George, you say this has been a long time project that we've known has been coming, like multiple years, correct?
I mean, the Ravinia extension has been in the works. I mean, we know, we already previously had it engineered. And Khurshid, what year would you say that the first elements of this were approved?
George, 2012.
Yeah. And then, so much so that we've already received right-of-way from adjacent property owners, and we've been in negotiations with the Mr. Chermack for 6 months now to try to get those right-of-way, and it's just not going anywhere.
Okay, and just follow up, we've spent a lot of money on engineering this and designing this. So this is the absolute last piece that's holding this up.
That's correct.
Okay.
And Trustee Healy, did you want to be recognized?
Pardon me, yes, I would like.
Okay, Trustee Healy.
George, what, is he asking double or triple?
Well, it's, so we know that others have attempted to buy the whole property, and what he's asking for that is not reasonable, according to folks that have tried to buy the property. We don't want to buy the entire parcel. All we're looking for is a strip of land. So it's really not I don't think, I think we could come to terms if we can just talk about just that strip of land, but we're not, it's beyond all of that.
And George, this is just for the road construction, correct?
That's correct, just for the road construction, just to extend Ravinia to LaGrange.
And Mayor, sorry, you asked.
Good.
So one of the things that we are doing in this time, which is slightly different than we have ever done before, is that this time we're going to go ahead and start the construction and bring the roadway up to his property and then wait until the eminent domain is complete. So this will allow us to support the other developments that are coming in that are relying on this extension for them to properly function.
Let's be specific for the public record. You mean the new subdivision?
The new subdivision, and then there is a potential project on the planning commission for January.
So that's that project as well as all the construction. So there's a definite public purpose here. Any other comments or questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Katsinas?
just a quick question, Krishid. It's a long, narrow strip of vacant property, right?
That is correct.
Okay, and it looks like it's at the very tail end of that vacant property, right? I mean, where you have to connect the road.
That's correct.
Okay, what use, if any, could be used on that remaining vacant parcel? I mean, I know we're only buying that strip, but if that creates the bottom parcel, bottom piece, I mean, what could the owner conceivably do, if anything, with it?
So we will include a driveway for the northern parcel and the southern parcel after we have the eminent domain completed. Then after that, it could be, it's hard to say what the zoning will fit in, but I would say it could be some kind of retail or it could be some kind of residential development.
Do you have any estimate of how big that parcel is, maybe?
We do. We have exact dimensions for each piece that will be left after this. I believe the half. I do not have it right now. If I would say it, I wouldn't be accurate in that regard, but I can definitely provide that to you after the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Krishid.
And if I could, if that orphaned piece is a problem for the property owner, then it's something that the village could potentially pick up as well. And we always need stormwater capacity, so that is also an option for that.
Any other comments or questions from the board? So, Krishid, on the northern piece of this property, any kind of ingress and egress to 159th Street is strictly under IDOT's control and permitting, correct?
That is correct, Mayor, that is correct.
Okay. All right, we need a motion. Is there no other questions or comments? We'll need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick thing. I think this is definitely a case, that has been different from others that we've faced, given that, it's been longstanding and it's going to be used for a road that, to make that area safer for access. Certainly the new subdivision, even those townhouses over there, in the Marcus area. So I think this is, as much as, I dislike eminent domain, I think if there's any use for it, this would be, in my opinion, a use for eminent domain, given the longstanding history and the fact that it's going to be a road.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Lawler?
I'd like to make a motion. I move to recommend to the Village Board of Trustees to adopt an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Authorizing Acquisition of Property by Eminent Domain."
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments about that motion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Lawler.
Aye.
Trustee Lawrence.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Mayor Dodge.
Aye.
Motion passes. Resolution authorizing the acquisition of real estate, 17171 Wolf Road, former El Cortez property.
Thank you. George, this has been a long-standing issue, and you've been in a number of discussions with the property owner. Can you or staff update the board before we ask for a motion?
Yeah, so as the board is aware, ever since the start of when the repo lot was being proposed, that entire section has been reevaluated to kind of really revitalize it. The former El Cortez is an eyesore. There is obvious safety issues with that building. There are actually two parcels. There's two pins. The back pin we would be acquiring through the Cook County Land Bank because of back taxes. The front pin with the building on it, we would acquire and pay for that parcel. And then once we acquire both of those, we will tear down the structures, and then it will be part of the expansion or the creation of what we are referring to as the Marley Creek Basin. It's going to fix the stormwater flooding issues in that area, and then we're looking to do some passive recreation around there as well.
Thank you. We either entertain a motion, or there's any comments or questions from the board first?
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Malani?
George, if you can recall back, I mean, we've been talking about this property long before the acquisition of the bus barn that we keep calling it, that property. I mean, I think this goes back into like 2021 or 2022, where they were repeatedly making changes to the property and doing things without permits and have made a hazardous condition out of part of the building.
Yep.
So, taking all of that into consideration, this is probably the only option we have to get that cleaned up at this point, right?
Yeah, and when the property was developed, it was developed in the floodway, which under normal circumstances, you cannot build in there. I mean, it floods. So all the options for this building were very limited going forward, because anybody wanting to make any improvements were restricted by federal law. So that was the first challenge with that. And you're right, there were attempts. There was even the property had changed hands a couple of times, and each time folks had realized that there's just not much that can be done there. So the only real use, I think, at this point is what we refer to as the Marley Creek Basin, is to help with the flooding in that area.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Katsinas?
George, I just wanted to make sure that the appraised value was $290,000.
Yes.
And that was a recent appraisal?
Yes, it was done probably in July of this year.
Thank you.
Any other comments? George, I know that we've been in a number of discussions with the person who owns it and their attorney, so this is a negotiated settlement, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, do we need a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Lawler?
I move to recommend to the village board to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution Authorizing the Acquisition of Real Estate."
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions about that motion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Lawler.
Aye.
Trustee Lawrence.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Mayor Dodge.
Aye.
Motion passes. A resolution authorizing the initiation of a building code litigation at 15151 Harlem Avenue.
George, I think that property also has been a challenge for years, and I think this is, in my personal memory, the first time we've authorized building code litigation. So you or staff give a brief background to the board.
Yeah, and the attorney Mike can chime in here, but for all intents and purposes, this property has been abandoned, and the maintenance that's occurring right now is being done by the village. We recently boarded the property. This kicks off the process for a judicial review to allow us ultimately to tear down the structures to make them safe. This is step one of a multi-step in front of a judge.
What we all know it is what, this Prairie House?
Yes.
So everyone can picture this on Harlem Avenue there. Okay. Is there anything, Steve, anything else from staff? After a motion.
I mean, I have more information if you have questions, but I don't have anything to add per se.
And then what does this entail? A question for the attorney, what does this entail, Mike?
What you would be doing is authorizing us to file a complaint that it's been abandoned. There's criteria, it's in your, in the presentation, but that if taxes or a water bill have not been paid for 2 years, which these haven't been paid since 2014, then we go in and ask that the court make a ruling that it's abandoned. That starts the process that we then send notice to the last interested party, and if no one appears, then we become, then a judicial deed is entered and we obtain the property. It's a much quicker than the code violation process that we've used this successfully in other municipalities, and this is a prime opportunity to get this done quicker. You're talking, rather than year, you're talking like a 4 or 5 month process at the most.
Thank you. So George, in 4, 5, 6 months, when we have this, what's the plan?
Tear down the structures, get the property cleaned up, and then hopefully we can turn it around, sell it, so it becomes a taxable property again.
Okay, well, that gets brought back to the board for a decision, correct?
Correct.
What we want to keep or dispose of the property?
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion?
Mr.
Trustee Katsinas?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, I just had a quick question. Have you, I'm sure you have, but done a title search to try to see who the owner is? Because if memory serves me correct, I think somebody that may have owned this property has passed. You know, so I know that it's a little complicated, but.
That's part of the process. Trustees, we have to at least give it, the court requires us to give notice to the last known. So if they're passed and they haven't spread it of record, then we just have to follow the policy of the court, and we're going to do that. But we're going to do everything in a diligent manner. The other point is that once we get the deed, everything is wiped out, and we have a clear title to the property.
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Healy?
What is the, do we have is there any indication of what the market value is today?
No, we haven't gone to that point. Right now, our goal is to just make it a safe structure.
But would the owner have any possibility of any equity left in the building? After all, if you deduct the real estate taxes and the water bills, does he have equity in the property?
And that might be the problem, is that since there's so much in back taxes, that a lot of times these types of parcels that have challenges, especially if there's so much in back taxes, any chance of selling it almost becomes null because of all the amount of money they owe.
And why not let it go for back taxes?
And that, it hasn't up to this point.
No one's redeemed the taxes, and actually what this process does is it wipes the taxes out entirely. So George is correct that in many cases they're so upside down and there's nothing that they can do to redeem it, and if someone purchased it, they'd have to make the tax whole. So this is usually a very good way to get things cleaned up that are abandoned, that have become a problem, and then get them back eventually on the tax rolls.
Well, it's a shame that the taxes are in that way, but it's a combination of the owner and the taxes too. So I think it's just a shame.
Mr. Mayor? Yeah, also there's some urgency here because of the condition of the property. We're in a very unsafe situation. The property's has been entered on a fairly regular basis. The door was unsecure for a long time. There's a lot of graffiti, and it's just a very unsafe place, and we need to get this done sooner than later. And going through the tax redemption thing is going to take a long time, and I think we need to act quicker.
That's a very good point. The village is on notice of an unsafe condition. When you are on notice, the urgency is there, and potential, not saying there is liability, but potential liability is there if you don't act quickly.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Malani?
So my question is, with this deed and then we acquire the property, are we acquiring it by purchasing it, or do we acquire it through this process and then we're just given a deed?
Good.
We're given, the judge gives us, makes a judicial ruling that we have a deed, that it's our property.
Okay, so we do not have.
We don't have-
Essentially, there's no out-of-pocket.
Nothing
Money going.
other
into this.
than
Okay,
the legal process.
That's where I was confused, because if we were purchasing another property just to go clean something up and then put it on our for sale sheet that we have already, it didn't make much sense to me. So there's no out-of-pocket for this other than our court costs and
That's,
legal fees.
that's
And
correct.
then eventually demolition costs.
Right.
We will demolish it, and then we hope to recover that if we go and sell the property.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Healy?
could I present an alternative, which is give it to the fire department, let them practice their fire, and let them get rid of the debris?
You know, everyone brings that up, and the fire department doesn't do that anymore. They'll go in, they'll do some exercise in there, they'll cut up in walls, roofs and stuff, but they don't burn down buildings anymore.
But Bill, if that worked, it's not a bad
Yeah.
fiscally sound alternative, so I understand the
well,
spirit of your offer.
Well, maybe some other
Mr.
fire
Chairman.
department will.
Did somebody,
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I'm
Trustee
sorry.
Katsinas?
Because of the proximity, I think it's adjacent to the forest preserves. Do you think Cook County would be interested in it all?
If that's directed at me, I would love to have Cook County take it over. It becomes another, little bit of open space. That's not a bad outcome.
Mr.
And
Mayor?
so, when we get through this process, assuming we're successful, we'll bring that back to the board, because it might be a tough parcel from a development perspective, because it would largely only be right in, right out at that particular intersection. So let's tackle that idea. I think it's a good one, Trustee Katsinas.
And the property immediately north was just purchased by the Forest Preserve.
From the same estate.
From the same estate, okay?
But they didn't want this parcel.
We need a motion.
That doesn't.
Need a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Lawler?
I move to recommend to the village board to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution Authorizing the Initiation of Building Code Litigation with Respect to the Property Commonly Known as 15151 South Harlem Avenue, Orland Park, Illinois."
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Any questions about the motion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Lawler?
Yep.
Trustee Lawrence?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Dodge?
Aye.
Motion passes.
John, was that yep?
Union Pacific Norfolk Southern merger update to the committee of the whole.
George, quick introduction. I think Sangeeta's going to have a presentation.
So planner Sangeeta is going to just give some information about the proposed merger that's happening right now, and about other railroad property discussion.
Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm here to present some information on the upcoming merger between Norfolk Southern and Union Pacific. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, do it.
Good thing it's the IT guys here in the room.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. So in July of this year, Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern announced a merger that would unite the two railroads to create what would be the first transcontinental railroad connecting both the East and the West Coast. The path to completion for this merger is, it's been approved by both boards and the shareholders, and the merger application goes to the Surface Transportation Board with a targeted completion date of early 2027. So what we're trying to do here is trying to understand the ramifications, if any, on Orland Park. As we all know, we do have the one rail line that runs through our village. It's owned by Norfolk Southern, and it's leased to Metra, which operates the Southwest service. This line originally used to run all the way from Chicago all the way to St. Louis, but currently the terminus for this line is Manhattan. The portion of the line south of Manhattan all the way to Decatur was abandoned, and it was bought by the Kane County Forest Preserve. I think it was the Will County Forest Preserve and it's become what's the Waponsie Glacial Trail. And because of this track abandonment, the rail service through Orland Park is exclusively a commuter rail service and does not include freight. So it's unlikely that freight service will resume on the line through Orland Park following the merger, since the terminus remains Manhattan. The only possible interconnection for, let me get to the next slide. Yeah, the only possible interconnection for another train line would be to connect to the Elgin-Joliet Eastern Railway that's owned by Canadian National. So the Norfolk Southern line crosses over the EGE at New Lenox, but this isn't a grade at-grade crossing. There's a bridge that crosses over. And considering that Canadian National is a competitor to Union Pacific, it's currently unlikely that an interconnection will be built. However, if an interconnection is built, then we could expect to see greater rail traffic, freight rail traffic coming through Orland. So last week I attended a Zoom call organized by the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and Union Pacific. And when we asked a question about if there's any specific expansion plans in the area, the answer was they didn't have any specific plans for now, and for village staff to review the application that's going to go to the STB this week.
I think that, just jumping in here, I think the chances of that connection are really, really, really small.
You're right. Yep. So, so we're just playing out the scenarios here. If there's a future connection, then what are the possible impacts to the village? There's going to be increase in the crossing gate down durations. There's potential noise increase along the freight corridor. And then there may be impacts to the Metro Southwest service, just with the scheduling delays. The positive would be there's some reduction in the heavy truck traffic if the freight shifts to rail. So that kind of sums up the merger part of it. And since we're talking railroads, we just want to touch upon a few potential annexations that are on our radar. So up on the screen, the map that you're seeing is the corner of 179th and the railroad tracks. From east to west, what we are seeing here shown in the red are 3 residential properties. There's the Melka landscaping, which forms the triangle. And then to the west of the tracks is a property that's owned by the RTA. And we're kind of doing some research on it. It might be actually owned by IDOT. I think it was deeded over in 2018. So the new Illinois State Bill, SB 2111, People Over Parking Act, which will be in effect in mid-2026, has created a Northern Illinois Transit Authority that replaces the RTA. And the NITA, the NITA, will actually have the authority to develop land for transit supportive projects. So the village, I think we feel that, staff feels that it's vital to be able to control the land use of that parcel. And so that's the reason it's primarily on our radar to annex it. It's completely contiguous, it's completely surrounded, and under 60 acres, so it's a candidate for annexation. And we feel this is something that we need to act on right away. The next parcel is the railroad tracks between 151st and 159th Streets. In doing some background research, we found that the portions to the north and the south have been annexed into the village. The northern portion was annexed back in 1891, and then the southern portion in 1970. So again, with the People Over Parking Act, we feel that it'll be in our best interest to annex this parcel into the village as well. The last parcel that we're seeing is actually, it is inside the village boundary. This is at 143rd and Beacon Avenue. And this parcel, back in 2007, there was a plan to develop this parcel into a public amenity, a nice landscape park and some parking. We do currently lease a portion of this parcel of, I think we've been leasing it, I think since 1991, and we currently do lease it, continue to lease it. But the idea here was that this parcel could serve as a connection between downtown Orland Park and the old Orland Historic District. So we did approach Norfolk Southern to see if they'd be amenable to some kind of a lease agreement. We haven't been able to arrive at an agreement to date, but historically we know that Union Pacific is more amenable to land sale and land leases. So even if Norfolk Southern isn't open to a lease agreement, we're hopeful that once the merger comes through in mid-27, we can reopen this conversation and see if we'll be able to either acquire the land or be able to lease the land. That concludes my presentation.
Any comments or questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani?
the annexations that we just listed here, I think those were all called out in our 2022 update for the annexations. Was that correct?
That is correct.
So these are nothing new to us, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, thinking about the train, like you're saying, if freight trains were to come through here, I think we have, 9 crossings? Approximately? I was trying to count them in my head, trying to think, it's like at least somewhere between 7 to 10 crossings.
Probably.
Everybody else is trying to do the same
Yeah,
thing I'm just
yeah.
doing. Right, so, okay, so just thinking about that, if there was an increase in freight traffic, how many places we would have traffic accumulating, right? So I think this sounds like it's not a big deal, but if something like this happened, it could be a big deal, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. But the other thing I was gonna ask about is there was a proposal years ago, and I think it's been a few years since I heard this, about a reroute of the Southwest service to LaSalle Street. Did they go into that at all as they talked about this merger, or did that not come up?
That didn't come up. No, it was a very generic kind of a presentation. They didn't really get into too many details, but we'll keep an eye out for it.
And I know that's not really part of this presentation, but that looks like.
Yeah, so you're talking about the CREATE
Yes,
program,
the CREATE.
which is supposed to stop the backlog that's happening, and sometimes it's 3 days where things stop in Chicago before they continue on. And there were going to be some pieces of that for us have happened. I think they completed one of the flyovers.
The 75th Street flyover,
75th
which is a
They're
main.
still
So,
working
and
on that.
ultimately, our train would go into LaSalle. But I don't know how far they are along with
I think
continuing to finish that.
the flyover at 75th is probably going to remediate a lot of that where it gets hung up, but the problem is it's a lot of one-way, right-of-way, single track, so it's like,
Yes.
that's where things get backed up. So, okay, I was just curious if anybody talked about that. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? I'm glad you're on this slide, because I was going to ask you to go back to it. I'd like to talk briefly about the People Over Parking Act and NETA. I raised this objection to all of our state representatives, personally, individually, and also it was brought up at the Southwest Conference of Mayors. There's a couple of gears here that when they intersect could have an impact on towns like Orland Park. And so briefly stated, and we'll have the lawyer and George spot check me, NETA, as was defined and passed, gives that agency the option to do eminent domain within half a mile of a train station. And so last minute, there are some changes to that language that force them to do it in cooperation with the municipality, but just call me skeptical when it comes to getting so-called higher levels of government to be collaborative and thoughtful. And so I just want to put it on the table for everyone to consider that as we start looking for options down here, there's a non-trivial set of things in the People Over Parking Act, which I objected to for what its impact on the suburban areas, and with NETA, and I don't think any mayor that I recall in the Southwest Conference of Mayors liked the idea of that entity having the ability to do eminent domain within half a mile of a train station. And some of the first language is even more egregious, where basically it included bus stops. And so everybody here needs to be very mindful of that piece of language. Mike, I wouldn't mind if you provided a summary to the full board about that particular piece of legislation. And then let's be very thoughtful as we go forward, given that this thing is coming.
Happy to. I've done some already. You're right. Being that it has the ability, there's a body that has that ability. I'm working on a similar issue in another municipality. With especially with the eminent domain piece, they don't need the approval of any municipality typically on a zoning issue. They can ask we can ask make reasonable requests. I'm dealing with this in the water agency in Lamont, so that's why it's very fresh. So it is a very big power that they have.
And the other question I would like you to specifically address, Mike, is whose zoning laws would apply?
Not ours.
Okay, so let's now translate this into very plain English. Transit supportive projects is almost exclusively housing. If it's not our housing laws, that could be very high density housing, correct?
Yeah, so I'm on a task force, and I know at least myself and someone from the South Suburban Mayor's Caucus is on this task force. So NITA RTA is not allowed to own land right now, so the agencies do. NITA will have the power to own and develop land. The program they're putting together, there is a specific clause from the way they presented it to us that for things that are in the towns, they must follow our zoning. So I have a follow-up meeting with them on Thursday.
Yeah, because there's some overlap in other bodies that have.
Yeah, there's a bunch of parts to
That's
that
great.
People Over Parking Act. One is a parking reduction thing, which we'll probably have another session on. But on this specific thing, they're looking at 2 parcels in Orland Park. One is this one, and one is the parking lot at 153rd and the vacant parcel to the north of that.
Who is looking at our parcels, Steve?
NITA, or right now it's RTA, but
All right, I want you to repeat that more clearly for the record. Who is looking at those parcels in Orland Park?
RTA is looking at these parcels as potential development sites that are large enough to develop, and they're working with the different people on the steering committee to come up with a set of standards. But again, the one thing that they did say is that they would work with, it would be within our zoning. Now, they do have some parameters which don't necessarily fit with our parameters, so we would have to see if it meets, and that's one of the things I'm going to talk with them about on Thursday, or Wednesday or Thursday, is what they mean as far as their expectations for what mixed use is, and what their expectations are on density. So that's on my agenda to talk
Yes,
about.
so a couple of action steps for staff, George. I'd like Steve and Mike to put together a diagnostic summary of how this impacts us, especially given what Steve said. And then I'd like to make sure we have a conversation soon with our state legislators, because with all due respect, I'm sorry, I think we could do a better job of planning Orland Park than NITA. And everything that's in this language, I'll quote Reagan, trust but verify, which I think is actually a Russian proverb, because I really do want to see this in writing, Mr. Stillman. Any other comments or questions from the board? Thank you.
We will proceed to Facilities Master Plan Update.
Mayor, if it's okay, Joel has just a presentation for the sake of the new trustees. It's our master facility plan here, and Joel just he's going to go through where we were a couple years ago, where we are going in the future.
Thank you, George. Yeah, the purpose of this brief really is exactly what George mentioned, and also to understand the process that led up to the plan that we are currently under, which was 23 to 27. Also on the board consent tonight, on the board meeting, is a rejection of an invitation to bid for the SALT building, which was part of the capital plan. Due to utilizing the MFT funds, we've been working with IDOT to follow their process and to put that on the street for bidding. We did not receive any bids during that process. So that's why we have to do a rejection of the bid. So if you're wondering why that was on there. Working with IDOT though, now we can do our next step. Our next step is to get quotations. Quotations are like our requests for proposals. So we will put that out on the street in January and get bids for the project and then bring that back to the board for consideration. Oops. Okay. So going through, the foundation of the facilities plan was to assess the condition of the facilities and do a space assessment. This was done in 2021 and then briefed to the board in May 2022. The condition assessment looked at probable cost, facility age, envelope, site, interior, structure, code compliance. Example is like the generator that was identified during that process. Everything we do is based on this foundation of what we looked at all the facilities. So this standard review helped us recapitalize our facilities. Similar to your home, when you do large investments, you need to plan it and find out how we're going to pay for it with finances help to extend the life of the structure. And facilities were broken into really two categories on the right side, and one was to buildings to preserve and what ones we potentially could monitor or consolidate as some facility improvements were identified. This slide just kind of shows that we had a lot of different elements of all the buildings that were close to replacement. And so over the past couple of years, we've been working on this, if I had to do this chart again in a couple of years, you'll start seeing a lot of them in green because the board has been supportive of the facility plan to kind of fix our buildings. And due to the cost of new buildings, we try to recapitalize as much as possible our current facilities. This report is 640 pages. So I'm just showing a few pictures of some of the things that were identified, and these are the things I'm fixing throughout the years. That could be small projects, big projects, and those are the kind of categories we looked at. The second part of that same study was a space assessment. And we looked at relationships of functions, efficiencies, security, and space needs. Being that the police department's building was predominantly good for their size, except for we had to add some evidence storage. And the village hall had some adequate space. We really kind of focused our review on the two largest groups, which is Rec and Park and Public Works. We looked at predominantly a lot of where our storage is at and how much storage space did we need going into the future. And then we looked at possible solutions, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that.
Joel, before you go on, both Rec and Public Works had the same problem, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was?
Lack of storage and spread out storage.
It was dispersed, so we were wasting staff time.
Wasted staff time. Going between the buildings and getting the materials. Both locations, we saw that it was not centralized. In my next slide, I'll kind of show you that layout on my next slide.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. That dovetails right into it. As you can see, that spread out storage is the green and is Rec and Parks, and red is Public Works. Some locations on the words are color coded with the two colors. That means we both were in that building. So just, it's not Christmas, it's just red and green. So two locations, looking at that storage, was the Rec Administration Building and EMA storage. We had a concept study in 2021. We did some minor adjustments here this year for space allocations for EMA, which would be the red, and the blue is veteran sorting area for the deployed troops. They would do the sorting of the packages. The green area would be identified for ideas for rec and parks for storage. We even, there's a little section that's bumped out on the bottom, that's new. That would be a new space to help with that storage need. There was one other thing I would like to highlight is this was not the only building we did for rec and parks. We also did the athletic garage. The garage literally was wobbling what they had before. You could touch it and push the walls. That's how bad it was. So a new building was there, and we tried to start consolidating the park's needs into that facility. So that's why we built that building. And then above, we do have some renovations. Part of that initial condition assessment, there's a few things we'll do upstairs as well, but it would be more allocating some space for some offices and so forth, but also some facility needs. The last part of the study, so all this is all packaged in that very large study, was to look at the Public Works site. And so one of the things we did recently, we fixed the fuel tanks. We replaced those. The PD range was the outdoor range that now we have the indoor range. And the vehicle impound was then also put by the new range as well. So those all were hatched areas have been completed. So the last two phases of the optimization plan was to maximize the triangle where the salt building will go. And then both the shop spaces that we talked about, that consolidating the spaces into Public Works would be in the southern garage area, and then enlarge the larger north bay to house more of the vehicles and equipment. So that kind of got us through 21, and then what we did was, we had, during 2023, we had several meetings where we developed a strategic plan. We gave inputs to the board to what we could do, and a couple of things we decided was, first, we looked at investment decision, where the cultural center, we had a lot of funds set aside to do some repairs there, but also at the old Veterans Building. Both were very old buildings, and we recapitalized some of those costs into other facilities below that were all part of the facility plan. And we were able to do all that in lieu of that building's cost. Other decisions made was the PD range we talked about, fixing the HVAC equipment, we talked about the PW site, Orland Health and Fitness pool equipment, and some renovations in there, and CPAC pool. So those are two major projects that we're going to do over the next, it's over a fall, spring timeframe, as well as some rec admin that I just briefed you, that concept layout. Just to note, it wasn't part of the facility plan. The CPW plan was part of Ray's Parks and Capital Plan. Just double check. All right. So once those decisions were made through those workshops, we started putting together the plan from 23 to 27. And 23 was highly designed because that was the year that the plan was made. We couldn't design and construct many things. There was one project we were, because it was a little smaller in scope, that was FLC, as you can see in black. But then that we design 1 year, and then we build the next year. Design 1 year, build the next year. And I'll just show you a quick slide to kind of how we represent that. As you can see, we timeline things. We started working on the projects, all the designs, construction. I think you have this in your packet. If you have any questions, let me know. But we always try to brief the board during the steps of the major projects, especially, obviously, award, but also sometimes updates. And we will always continue doing that. And then I just highlighted some of the meetings that we had for each of those projects on the right side. So in 26, we have the 4 projects that has been approved. We have some 27 projects, and then we have some planning efforts going forward that we need to work with you on ideas and into the next capital plan, and we'll continue to do a next round. And I'll just show you kind of a timeline of how that would occur, the ideas and so forth. With that, a short, I know the time is, short, but I'll answer any questions if you have any, as a real quick recap and summarization.
Any comments, questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani?
could we go back to slide 8?
Yes, sir. Slide 8?
Yeah, the rec admin.
Yes. The top or bottom?
This one.
Okay.
Okay, looking at this, and this is kind of directed to George, and Joel, you might have been on this as well. Some of the things we've been talking about from the whole EMA perspective. There's a couple other things on here I think that probably should be read that we've been talking about, but the single-story addition area, I thought we were originally talking about possibly doing some kind of covered area for parking of vehicles or something like that.
If you look, as part of the planning at the bottom left, we're going to look at a canopy area for EMA vehicles.
To the, yeah. To the left of the red boxes there's a note.
Oh, it was just kind of hovering out there.
Sorry.
Thank you. Put it in big red letters and say, "Look here, dummy."
Yeah.
That's okay.
It literally, look, I thought it was just a label over there.
Yep.
And
So that's to the.
That's along the wall.
That's
Along the
west-
wall,
The
right.
west, towards the west of the end of the building. Okay, great, gotcha.
Yep.
And this is a concept study. Obviously, we'll design, and we'll have several meetings as we design the building.
Because if we're looking to ramp up members,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have to ramp up vehicles, and then we're gonna have a place. to-
Absolutely.
So that makes a little more sense to me now, seeing. So that'd be kind of like, or like the Speedway gas station we have in the back of the new training center.
Yeah, but it's going to be designed for the amount of vehicles that EMA is going to need.
Sure. Okay, that helps. Is that antenna tower going to go away? Do you know that? Is that?
It'll be there.
That's still going to be active, that's
Yes.
still going to be in use.
Yes.
Just the new one is to support the new radios at the other building. Okay, yeah, just checking. Okay, thank you.
Any other trustees, comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Katsinas?
Yes, Joel, I wish we could see an updated, the facilities condition assessment. If you can do an update, because I know a lot of these in red obviously have been done, just so we can kind of compare, just to see, like I remember looking at this, something similar to this before.
Yes, we could work on that. I don't currently have it in the budget this year, but we could do it in 27 if that's something the board would like us to do as a refresh
I mean,
on
just
that.
update.
Or even
Just what's gone on. what is
Indicate
the-
what's been finished. I think
what
is
has been
trustee-
finished. Very good.
Correct?
All right, I'll let you know. I'll get that done for you.
Yeah, no reassess, just redoing the chart to reflect that work that has been already completed. Like, does that red box become green, light green, based on what you've done? Because it seems like a lot of the red boxes we've done.
Yes.
So just to be clear, but that this is how it looked in 2021. But I think that would be real helpful with the budget and be very helpful to look at. So that's my only comment. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Healy?
I was wondering, Joel or George, I'm not sure who, but the Old History Museum, it was in bad shape it's probably still is in bad shape. I have two questions. What's it being used for now? And the other one is, what's its use planned for the future?
Yes, so the lower area of the old Village Hall is still, Public Works has a lot of storage of facility-related piping, our paint shop, and so forth that we would like to relocate to Public Works. The other side is a VOP studio for small plays right now, where the old
Stage?
board and stage was. So that'd be the northern section, if you recall the layout of the building.
And the future is?
Future is really up to the board. I think in that planning process that I laid out in the last slide, we'd like to know what we want to do with that building. So I'm open to hearing what the plan is for that.
And that last slide says that will be reevaluated once this entire process is completed. So we'll get a better idea of our space needs once all the dominoes fall into place. But that will be in 28, FY 28.
Yeah, the last bullet addressed Old Village Hall future. So we do want to know what we want to do with it.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Maloney?
Going back to that building, if I remember correctly, when it was evaluated, it was kind of like one of those, it's almost reached its useful life. And I know it would probably, in order to renovate it, it was going to cost more than it was worth, I think, when we evaluated.
There is definitely a lot of costs and a lot of problems with the facility, and that's part of the discussion with you. Is it a good value to put money into it, or is it something we want to do where another option?
Trustee Maloney, you're talking about the old Village Hall?
The old building. Yeah, I mean, is this something we just maybe keep doing programming there until we finally go, hey, maybe we need to pull the plug, you know? It's not saying that it's a safety consideration, but maybe it becomes one, then we have to, take action and either give it up or renovate, right? Correct. Okay, thanks.
Any other comments? I, for one, don't have too much nostalgia for the old Village Hall because of what it used to take to get down to my office. What seemed to be the basement, walking over boxes of files back in the day before we moved here. So yeah, on that particular building, let's figure it out. And one of the things that we've talked about, just to update the board, George and Joel and I, which is, if you've got a building worth $1 million and it needs help, that's still probably net cheaper than trying to knock it over and start from scratch with a brand new building. So the question that we've been posing to staff is, if you make investments in, Orland Park Health and Fitness, okay, is the building sound so it becomes a 30-year investment in the infrastructure? And I think that's a set of standards we need to apply to some of these old buildings, which is, what is the true net cost of catching it up and keeping it going? Or what's the impact if we take it offline? What services do you give up, or what's the operational impact? Because we're seeing that in some of the rec things where we've taken some things offline, it has an impact. So we'll get to that point when we get there. It probably has utility. I don't know if it would be all that hurtful for the neighborhood if it went back to residential housing that fit the neighborhood. We'll see when we get there. Any other comments or questions? Okay, next item, please.
Consideration and action on an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $40,500,000 general obligation bonds, taxable 2026A, and tax exempt 2026B GO bonds for capital and redevelopment.
Probably stop there. A question for the attorney. We have a run-on paragraph here. Can we stop reading there? Is that enough?
The purpose of an agenda is just to give notice to the public on what the agenda item is going to be. So I think you've done it.
Awesome. Thanks, Mary. That's all right. George, we'll have a brief discussion before we call for the board comments and a motion.
Yeah, we have just a PowerPoint here that summarizes what is happening with this, but what the 26 general obligation bonds are all part of what was planned in the 26 budget. There's a couple parts to it. Next slide. That was read already. The 26A is for the taxable portion, and that is specifically related to the Dick's House of Sports, the redevelopment agreement that we have with them. 26B are the tax exempt. The difference here is there's a little bit of a higher interest rate on the taxable ones. Next slide. So Dick's RDA included 6.8 as part of the incentive, and then there's going to be $3 million for stormwater and traffic signal replacement. We talked about the Ravinia Avenue extension. So let me just go back. The Dick's House of Sports bond is going to be reimbursed through a TIF. The Ravinia Avenue extension also going to be reimbursed through a TIF for a project that is going to be coming before the board in the next month or so, a very large project. So that'll include the right-of-way, roadway construction, and traffic signals, and then potential undergrounding of electrical transmission lines along 159th. Former Riviera property is being considered now for acquisition. Then the remaining elements of this are the planned capital improvement debt that was for water and sewer and for the rest of the village. That was part of the original 2023 five-year financial plan, and it, again, was approved in the budget.
Comments or questions from the board on this funding operation?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Katsinas?
correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought the budget showed 32 million. 32 million for a bond. Is the water separate or something?
So it's a good point. There are different funds, so it may be that what Trustee, what you may have recalled on the 32 was the general portion. And
Go back one slide if you would, Chris. So the water and sewer is from the waterfront. It's an enterprise fund, correct?
And also, potential TIFs have not been included in the budget either. So that's been omitted from the budget. So this is the total comprehensive bond issuance here that has everything that we're planning for the next year. Anything with TIF creations, any TIFs that are established, we'll come back to you with the budget amendment, and it will be a full balanced budget on just that TIF fund. So we'll address each one individually when that comes up. But yes, everything all that was planned has been included in here and in the budget in 26. That answers the question.
Trustee Healy?
George, the proceeds of this bond project, they can only be used for these subcategories, the Riviera property, the capital improvement.
So when you look at the parameters ordinance, which is what this specific agenda item is about, it sets the parameters for how the bonds will be used. Generally, what you will see in the bond ordinance is exactly this. It really becomes important for the taxable proceeds. So the DICs, we have to be very specific on that. And that's why we have bond counsel, because they review, we can't take non-taxable, right, for that purpose. And then for our water and sewer fund, because it's an enterprise fund, it has to be self-sustaining and it accounted for separately.
And the Riviera property, if we don't go through with it, do we return,
We have, as part of our next year, as part of the conclusion of the five-year financial, there is still more debt to be taken next year. That was initiated in 23. That would just limit what we would plan for next year.
but if we never do the improvements or whatever on the property, does it go back to pay down the bonds, or?
No, we would just use those as part of whatever we were planning for next year.
Okay, so it's not tied to it specific?
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Lawler?
So if we didn't take the debt, we wouldn't be able to possibly buy Riviera. We would have to cancel any water and sewer improvements that we already committed to, and same thing with the planned capital improvements, correct? And then we would tell Dick's Sports, good luck, we're not paying for it, you're going somewhere else.
Well, Dick's, we've already committed to it through the RDA, so we would be violating that contract.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Malani?
I guess, understanding we have the capital improvements that we're budgeting for and, the agreements, similar to Dick's. I mean, I get all of that. I guess, again, the one thing that sticks out to me is, issuing debt to purchase another property that we're going to speculate that we're going to do something with is kind of bothering me a little bit with the Riviera, they sound the same, the Riviera property. So, I mean, that's, I think we've said this before, we don't want to become land developers, right? It's like, don't want to keep getting into this habit. So just more of a comment than a question.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Lawrence?
point of clarification regarding the former Riviera property. It was my understanding that there were thoughts that residents are expressing interest in recreation facilities that's more on the northeast side, and that they find it challenging to go all the way across LaGrange Road and down south to, say, Sportsplex. And so the idea is that if the residents approve in a referendum that they want such a facility, that we would continue to retain the property. But if they did not, that we would put the property on the market for it to be sold.
Yeah, and it's ultimately going to be up to the board, you know, whether, you know, if we keep the property as for just an open land or we put it back out to the market. We get to that point after the planned spring 2027 referendum.
Okay, so this gives us the option.
Correct.
To do something that many residents have expressed they have an interest. And then it'll be up to them to say, hey, do they really want it or not? And let us know through their voting.
Correct.
Whether they're committed to this sort of enterprise.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? You know, George, this is planned. We've talked about this. This is kind of normal financing operations. Some of it was net new. The idea of going after the Riviera is essentially new. A lot of the other things are already pre-programmed and pre-planned for, correct? So this
Correct.
is just part of our normal funding operations.
That's correct.
So it is a technical increase in our debt level, but it's been known and planned for in previous budgets, correct?
That's correct. And the key in all of debt is it's not, taking debt's easy. It's how do you pay it back? And every one of these, there's a plan for it, including our normal capital improvement debt that was part of the CIP that was factored. We've talked about the Riviera, about going to referendum. The Dix is through a TIF, and then Ravinia extension is also through a TIF.
Right. And then on Riviera in particular, there's high interest in that project from folks on the, I'll just say east of LaGrange generally. And so it's certainly, I think, a needed asset in that side. We'll have to see when we get down to brass tacks, and getting the property now is exactly the right move. And, you know, that particular parcel has been a problem for years, in my opinion, much like some of the parcels at 159th and 94th Avenue. So we're solving problems. So thank you for that background for you and staff. And then do come back and tell the board where we are after this is done, or Chris, do the projection of where we are from a total debt load.
I can give you that right now.
Yeah, please.
Right now, we're at $125,830,000.
How much?
$125,830,000.
Okay.
And then after this issuance, it adds 40.5 million, and that'll put us to 165,330 million.
Right, and I appreciate your previous analysis that we've done, which showed projections, and if we go through with all of those previously planned developments and TIFs, we'd be at a lot higher debt number, and I'm personally committed to making sure we don't ever crack 200 million, because I just don't think our balance sheet can handle it, because every time you pass debt, you impact your ability to have operating expense revenue without tax increases. So a lot of these things, George, those were the projects that we're now putting into place and spending money out with this debt, those were planned for in justification for the prior tax increases by the prior administration, correct?
That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we've talked this one through. Everybody knows the numbers. Everybody knows the status. We need a motion.
Yes.
Need a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Lawrence?
I move to recommend to the village board adopting an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Providing for the Issuance of Not to Exceed 40,500,000 General Obligation Bonds, Series 2026A and 2026B of the Village of Orland Park, Cook and Will Counties, Illinois, for the purpose of financing various capital improvements, providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax sufficient for the payment of the principal of and the interest on said bonds, and providing for the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof."
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Any questions about the motion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Lawrence?
Aye.
Trustee Lawler?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Dodge?
Aye.
Motion passes. Non-scheduled citizens and visitors for public comment on items relevant to village business.
So anyone signed in?
No.
Okay. So anyone in the audience wants to address the board and the committee of the whole? All right, if not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Lawrence?
Aye.
Trustee Lawler?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Mayor Dodge?
Aye.
Time adjourned is
Quick break.